So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. So as you guys know, after the Munguia fight, in the aftermath, Munguia called out Charlo, and he wants the Charlo fight. He said Charlo needs to grow a pair of balls and fight me. He basically repeated what De La Hoya said. Guys, before I get into the video, smash the like button. Remember to smash the like button. Really smash that like button, guys. I really appreciate you smashing the like button. Please, it really helps my channel, so please smash the like button, everyone that comes onto this video. Okay, also subscribe to the channel, share the video and all that good stuff. Okay, so Jermall Charlo has been called out. You know, Munguia saying that Charlo needs to grow a pair of balls, needs to fight me. I don't know why they're saying Charlo needs to grow a pair of balls when their company offered Munguia the fight, and the fight was turned down by Jaime Munguia. I mean, the fight was turned down. Apparently, some people say Munguia was happy with the offer, but Oscar De La Hoya wanted the fight to be on DAZN, so he turned the fight down. That's what some people say, or the fans. I don't really know. There's no real source to really back that up. But yeah, that's what people say happened, which may be truth to that. Because as I explained yesterday in videos, why the fight, you know, De La Hoya won it on DAZN. But I think Oscar De La Hoya at this point is probably looking for a big fight for Jaime Munguia, because enough's enough with these opposition that he's fighting. Even though I think he probably needs more fights like that, because I don't think he's ready. But I think probably fans have had enough, and I think they want to push him now into a big fight and fight for a title. Now, the champions are Andre, Golovkin, and Charlo, and I think they fancy their chances better against Charlo than they do the other two, because Andre's without an opponent. Why they wouldn't call Andrade out, and Andrade would be easy to make. I'll tell you why they don't want to fight Andrade, because Andrade would box the head off Munguia. He has no chance. I wasn't impressed, by the way. I'm going to be brutal. I'm going to be honest. And if you guys don't like it, you don't like it. I wasn't impressed with what I saw with Jaime Munguia's performance. I thought it was pretty novice-y. I thought he was loading up on shots. He looked wild against Jimmy Kelly. Jimmy Kelly is not a top fighter by any stretch of the imagination, and he was outboxing and giving Munguia trouble up until the 5th round, when Munguia caught him with a left hook, and Kelly's left legs, you know, went a bit wobbly, and that's it, and that was it. But up until that point, Kelly was giving him all kinds of trouble, right? I got criticized by some of you by saying Jermall Charlo beats him. I think Andrade would beat him comfortably. Golovkin would beat him comfortably. And I think Charlo beats him as well. I think Charlo is a fight where Munguia might have the best chance. I'll tell you why. Because Charlo at times can engage. And if he was to engage with Munguia and they were to go and have a war, then it'd make for a good fight. However, I think Charlo's too smart. I don't think Munguia has the greatest boxing IQ at this point anyway. I think he's work in progress. That's why I think, you know, Oscar De La Hoya has been protecting him. You can see why Oscar De La Hoya has been protecting him, because he's not ready for the elite. He's not ready for those guys. Simple as that. I still don't think he's ready for those guys. And the Jimmy Kelly fight showed that. Because if he was ready, he would have definitely given a better performance than that. It was a poor performance, to say the least. It wasn't a great performance. You know, you expect better from someone like Jaime Munguia. You know, with all the experience that he's had now, you'd expect him to be much better at this point. But he still seems that he's not polished. You know, he's got a lot more to improve on it and work on his game. And I think it's going to be tough for him. I do. I think guys like Charlo are good fighters. They're good, solid, all-round fighters. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Charlo's exceptional or nothing, but I think Charlo's a very polished fighter. He's got a great jab. He's got better fundamentals than Munguia at this point. And I think there's a reason why Munguia has not been fighting the world champions. There's a reason why Oscar De La Hoya has been managing his career the way he's been managing him, and protecting him the way he's been protecting him. Because Munguia, for me, isn't ready. He isn't ready. I'll be brutally honest with you. And Oscar De La Hoya Oscar De La Hoya gets a lot of criticism. He gets a lot of hate. Oscar De La Hoya is a legend of the game. Oscar De La Hoya understands boxing better than any of us understand boxing. And he knows that he's not ready. He knows that he's not ready. And hence why he's not been putting in. But I think now there is in a situation where maybe DAZN don't want him to keep fighting guys like Jimmy Kelly. They want him to step up and fight someone top tier. And they probably look at all the champions and they think, who's the fighter that we fancy the most? And it's Charlo. And here's why. Because both Golovkin and Andrade are with DAZN. So those fights would be easy to make. So why are they calling out Charlo when he's with PBC and that fight is hard to make? Why is Munguia calling out Charlo but not calling out Andrade or calling out Golovkin? Because Oscar De La Hoya knows that he doesn't have much of a chance with those guys. Stylistically, the fights are all wrong. Golovkin is a very good boxer. He punches very hard. Munguia would be in serious trouble. And Andrade is a boxer tricks. He's got great footwork, great hand speed. I think, you know, Andrade would box Munguia. And I don't think Munguia is that big a puncher. I do think Munguia could give Andrade trouble. Especially if Andrade, you know, gets careless. And Andrade makes mistakes as well. But Munguia is very wild. You know, he's very wild. You know, his aggression is also very wild. And someone like Andrade might have a field day with someone like Munguia, because I think he's not fundamentally sound enough. And that's why I think Andrade would beat Munguia. Golovkin would, in my opinion, just walk through Munguia. I think Golovkin hits too hard. I think he's fundamentally too sound. And even at this stage of Golovkin's career, I think he would have too much for Jaime Munguia. So I think that's why you're not seeing him call out those guys. Otherwise, why are they not calling out Golovkin or Andrade? Because those guys are on with DAZN. So surely it would be easier to make those fights than it is to fight Charlo, who's with the PBC. So why is it they're looking for Charlo? Because they like that fight stylistically. They think they have a better chance against Charlo stylistically. And by the way, I wouldn't give him, I wouldn't be favouring him. I think it's a 75-25 type of fight in Charlo's favour. Maybe even larger than that. Because what I saw against Jimmy Kelly wasn't impressed. And not just the fact what I saw against Jimmy Kelly. You know what I've been saying about Jaime Munguia for a while now. And I think Charlo is too polished, too good a fighter, and too skilled for Jaime Munguia. I think his jab is brilliant. I think he'll out jab Munguia. And remember, Jimmy Kelly, Charlo's very physically strong as well. He's very physically big as well. He's a big guy. He probably rehydrates to probably 170 something pounds or 180 pounds. The guy's a big dude as well. So yeah, I think it's a very, very tough fight for Jaime Munguia. But I think stylistically, Charlo does stand and trade and bang at times. Look, he did it with Montiel. And I think that's why they prefer that fight, because I think Munguia fancies himself when someone's standing and trading. We saw in the Rosado fight. I actually thought his performance against Rosado wasn't great, and I'll tell you why. Rosado's a brawler. If you stand and brawl with Rosado, you're giving him a chance. As we saw the punch that he landed with Beck the Bully. You know, he was getting battered in that fight, and Beck the Bully got hit with a shot and he knocked him out. But the point I'm trying to make is this: that I expected someone like Jaime Munguia to separate himself from Rosado and outbox Rosado. But to be brutally honest with you, I don't really think he was able to separate himself from Rosado. I actually thought that fight was a lot closer than what it should have been. And the reason why it was because Munguia isn't got the greatest boxing IQ. He's more of a brawler that needs to be polished a little bit more. He's definitely got skills. He's a good fighter. There's no doubt about it. He just needs work on his boxing ability, which he's young. He can improve that. But I'm talking about right now. You're talking about him fighting Charlo next. I think he's not ready, because I think he'll get beat by any of the champions. There's a reason why Oscar's been getting him the fights that he's been getting him, because Oscar doesn't think he's ready. That's not a knock on Jaime Munguia. Munguia needs to be developed at the pace he needs to be developed at. But Munguia is like a rough diamond at the minute. You know, you need to polish that in a way where it becomes a guy that's able to compete at the top level. A guy that you know that when you're putting him in for a world title fight, that he's going to win. He's not just going to go in there and give a good account of himself. He's actually going to win. And as of right now, do I think he has the boxing skills on what I've noticed in his last couple of fights? The answer is no. You know, and all of the champions there are pretty well-schooled champions. I know people say that Charlo hasn't fought nobody and this, that. Charlo's a well-schooled fighter. You know, he's very well polished. He's ready. Charlo's ready for that next step. He's ready for a Canelo. He's ready for a Benavidez. He's ready for that. Charlo's a good fighter. He's ready for that step. Munguia isn't ready for that next step, in my opinion, yet. You know, I haven't seen enough in his game, but maybe Munguia, that's what Munguia is. Maybe Munguia is never going to be, you know, he's never going to be that guy that, you know, is able to improve and get to that next level. But if you look at Maidana, like someone like Marcus Maidana for me improved. You know, Maidana was very raw early on in his career, and he was wild. But Maidana definitely, towards the later end of his career, definitely improved and became more polished. And there was more method behind the madness with what he was doing inside the ring. And I think Munguia needs to become a bit like that as well, where there needs to be a bit more method behind the madness. And, you know, guys like Jimmy Kelly shouldn't be giving someone like Munguia trouble. If a boxer like Jimmy Kelly is giving Munguia trouble with his boxing ability, then someone like an Andrade or someone that's a good boxer would totally neutralize and outbox Munguia. And, you know, so that needs to be worked on. That needs to be worked on. Yes, the most important thing is he got the win. You know, and he did get Jimmy Kelly out of there. So you have to give Munguia credit. But, again, he was supposed to be getting Jimmy Kelly out there. Jimmy Kelly's not a top-tier guy. You know, Jimmy Kelly, it's not like, when you fight at the top level, if you may look bad, as long as you get the win, it doesn't really matter. See, what Devin Haney did against Kambosos, although I wasn't excited or none of that, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that kind of level is just to get the win. It doesn't matter how you look, you know. It's important to get the win. Yeah, you know, the more talented fighters will also look good, but someone like Devin Haney wanted to just secure the win. You know, but when you're fighting against lower tier fighters and you're considered a contender or a champion, you need to be looking impressive. You need to be making statements. And although he got him out there in 5 rounds and the stoppage and the ending was pretty impressive, what was happening prior to that wasn't impressive. It was showing holes and weaknesses in Munguia's game, which Eric Morales needs to improve if he's got any chance at world level at middleweight. Because remember, Munguia is a guy that's come up from 154, right? These 160-pounders like Golovkin, Andre, these are big guys. And they've been settled at that weight for a pretty long time. You know, even Charlo's been settled at that weight for a pretty long time. And most importantly, these guys have got good fundamentals. You know, irrespective of what you say about Charlo, he's got good fundamentals. You know, and they don't... Yeah, I think that would be a very tough fight. However, a lot of people are criticizing Munguia because they're saying, oh, he's not going to fight Golovkin, he's not going to fight Andrade, he's not going to fight Charlo, he's going to fight another bum. You know, firstly, I don't really like calling fighters bums. Jimmy Kelly was no bum. Jimmy Kelly is somebody from Manchester who's actually a good boxer. You know, he's not a top tier middleweight, but he's still a good boxer. You know, and it's just that a lot of people don't have respect for a lot of these fighters that they don't know about. But that doesn't mean they're not good fighters. But nonetheless, you expected Munguia to look a lot better than what he did. But Jimmy Kelly also performed very well. You know, he performed very well. He was outboxing Munguia. But Munguia finally got him. And when he did get him, he finished the fight well. You know, he took him out. But there's definitely areas of improvement to be made. But I think if he was to fight Charlo next, I'm going Charlo for the victory. I think Munguia is a very tough guy, so would Charlo knock him out? I'm not sure. But, you know, Munguia hasn't got the greatest defense in the world. He was getting caught a lot by Jimmy Kelly. Charlo is obviously a lot stronger. He hits harder. He's a big guy. Both of them, I think, both Charlo and Munguia have good chins. Both of them have pretty good chins, if I'm honest with you. I think both of them pretty solid, sturdy fighters. So I don't see either of them stopping each other, but who knows? If there is a stoppage, it'll probably be Munguia, because I think Charlo... I don't think Charlo would... If Charlo fights him, I don't think Charlo would engage with him like that. I think he'll try to fight the way he did against Derevyanchenko. I think he'll look to outbox him from range and look to use his jab. That's what I think he'll do. He'll look to just outbox him. I don't think Charlo should engage with Munguia, because Munguia is strong. And I think the only chance that Munguia has is if Charlo starts brawling with him. Charlo starts brawling with Munguia, then it becomes a 50-50 fight. If Charlo just uses his superior skills, I think he can outbox him and win a unanimous decision. But that's my take on it. Leave your thoughts in the comment section, bro. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.